welcome to G's Table Talk. I'm Brandi. This is Abigail.
Hi.
We're going to be talking today about self care. Most people don't do it. I struggle with it actually. Abigail is pretty good at taking care of herself, so we're going to talk about different ways, why it's important, how to practice it, things to do, why it's in, why how it's going to improve your life and boost energy and all that stuff. So please join us, and we're going to get going.
Yeah, let's go, guys.
All right. So I'm. Let me talk a little bit about myself. Uh, I am a wife. I have been a wife for 30 years. I have 5 children. 3 of them are still at home. I have a full-time job. I work as a peer counselor for a substance abuse and mental health facility. Um, so my life's kind of busy. My week is kind of busy. I try to do less during the weekend, but now that I've been doing a little bit more podcasts, even that's kind of getting to be a lot. So there's not a whole lot of time for me to do self care because by the time I sit down after my day during the week, it's usually around 9 o'clock. So, just my job talks a lot about self care and the importance of it. And when they ask questions about who's doing what, I generally don't have much to say. But I thought it would be a good way to talk about this since we're talking about women's mental health and the importance of having good mental health. And I think this would be a good start to help your mental health. So, not a doctor, have no PhD, none of that. It's just things that I've seen that I've talked about during my everyday job with myself, with my clients, and thought it would be a good starting point. Anything you have to say?
I'm 20. I do this business all the time from 6 a.m. until probably about 1 a.m. So I'm usually pretty busy with my own stuff, with my running everything for this business, charge, rest of my stuff I have to do. So finding time for myself is kind of difficult, but I always make sure at least once a week I have like 2 or 3 hours just to reset myself and figure out what else I should be doing, or like do a face mask or a hair mask or something to make myself feel like, okay, like I'm good, I'm calm.
Yeah. Abby does a lot. She does a lot for the company. She has her own part-time job outside of the business. She's always on the go from 6 o'clock in the morning when she's doing her daily exercises to 1 o'clock in the morning when she's finishing some kind of edit for the company or for you know this one or for her own um, cooking with Abby. So we do a lot, or she does a lot. So thought it would be good for her to join us. What is self care? Self care is something that you do for yourself, whether it's physical, emotional, social, intellectual, so something that keeps your mind going, or spiritual, like going to church, praying, listening to music, worshiping God, whatever, however that looks for you. It's important because it reduces stress and anxiety. It improves mental health, enhances your physical health, helps your self-esteem, helps you to feel better about yourself, can improve your relationships because if you're not stressed out or always, anxious and worried about something, your relationship, you'll have better conversations with your partner or with your husband. So it can improve those relationships as well as, with your outside relationships, your families, and all that.
Yeah.
Can increase your focus and your productivity at work. A little stretching, a little, breathing exercise Maybe listening to music can keep you in a good mood, so it'll help you want to be productive at work. And it can also help boost your self confidence and your self esteem, make you feel better about yourself, as well as promoting a good sense of well being.
Yeah. I definitely do feel like after I have worked out and even just like washed my face, I feel a bit more motivated and like clear headed than days when I don't and I kind of just like lie around that day. So I definitely do think that having even just as simple as brushing your teeth in the morning or washing your face or just brushing your hair out, it can definitely help you feel more awake that day and more like, okay, like I have at least that under control. I can try and figure out everything else I have to do. So yeah, I definitely do agree with that. And also, there is statistics that an average woman in the U.S. just has over an hour a day to work out, which can help you so much for just the hour a day. Even 30 minutes will help you out. Because working out like improves so much of your body and of your mind. Even just doing like a 10-minute walk down the street would be so beneficial. So yeah.
Yeah, my mom, growing up, my mom used to always say, make your bed before, once you get up, make your bed, take your shower for the morning, brush your hair, brush your teeth. And it always just seemed so routine to me, and I never really understood why it was so important to do all those things, in the morning. But I always followed her directions, so I always did it. But now, as an adult, I know when I do get up and I do take a shower in the morning, and I do, do those hygiene, those out, things, brushing your teeth, brushing your hair, fixing it, fixing your bed, all that stuff. When it's time for me to go to work, I feel like I have a little bit more energy, that I'm ready to start work. Getting to work on early, a little bit early is usually what I do, and I know Abigail tries to do it too, just because you have time to be able to get your coffee, go to the bathroom, kind of do, figure out what your day's going to look like before, boom, you have to start work and you're stuck at a computer, or whatever job that you have, and you don't feel like you're behind a lot.
No matter what I'm doing, if it's my part-time job or this business, I always give myself at least 15 minutes arriving. So like if it's the business, I'll sit on my desk for like 15 minutes and just okay, let's get into like the right headspace. If it's my part-time job, I'll just like sit in my car for like 15 minutes and I have to go in and be like, okay, we need to like figure out what's your mood going in. Because I definitely feel like your personal life and your work life should be separate and that you shouldn't bring whatever's happening in your life outside of work into it because it can affect so many people, especially working in customer service. You like to hit on like a slightly bad mood, a customer can believe and be like, oh, why did you talk to me like that? Even though you're like, I'm just having a bad day. So yeah, I always do try to give myself a bit of space in between my tasks I have to do to just be like, okay, let's just breathe and just focus on what we need to do. And like, if I'm having a bad attitude, let's try and focus on positive things. Just to help my brain like function a bit more effortlessly.
It's good that I'm having this conversation with Abby because obviously we're different age groups, I'm almost 50 now and she's just in her 20s. And so you get kind of a different perspective on what self-care looks like in the different generations. For me, my self-care would be breathing and praying, and I do try to exercise at least 3 or 4 times a week.
Yeah.
Even if it's just walking, it's never anything hardcore because my body just can't handle that right now. But as long as I'm walking 20 minutes, I like to listen to music. I like to journal, things like that. That's how I view self-care. Through my company, we have a I don't know if it's an app or I know they do have an app for it. It's called My Strength, and it has some calming um, techniques, some breathing techniques. There's one breathing technique that I do like. It's called 4 to 6, and basically you breathe out, you breathe in through your nose for the count of 4, and you breathe out through your mouth to the count of 6.
Yeah.
And so that, and you do that for 10 times. So it, not only are you concentrating on how you're breathing, but by the 10th time that you've done it, your head's clear, your body feels a little bit better, you feel a little bit more focused. And so that's how my self care looks. I do mass with Abigail and my other daughters, more just for, visiting with them and for the mother and daughter socializing. But it's not really because of self care, really, honestly. I mean, when you're 50, you're not really doing that. I do go to do pedicures with my other daughter. That's because that's what she likes to do. So again, it's not really because of self care, even though some people that's what they enjoy.
Yeah.
Whatever your self care looks like, it's needed. It's definitely needed in your everyday life.
Yeah. My self care is a bit more thorough. I usually try and spend not like maybe not every day as I should be, but pretty often like reading my Bible for at least 30 minutes in the morning and just like journaling and stuff, just like process my emotions and figure out what needs to get done that day. I make sure I wash my face every day, and I have like a whole like 7 step skincare thing I do. I make sure my hair is brushed every day and make sure that like my clothes are clean, whatever the issue is I need to do that morning. And that night I usually try and put my hair in braids and just take care of myself a little bit throughout the week so that I'm not so overwhelmed like, oh, I haven't done this, you know? So that's my self care. It's more every day, a little bit at a time. Mom's is more like, okay, I just need to like breathe really fast and like figure out myself. And mine's more like, I just need to look pretty and make sure my brain's looking good. But
And see, I think that's where the generations differ, especially nowadays. Because when I was 20, of course, I already had 2 kids by then. But when I was 20, doing face mask and all that stuff, that really wasn't. It really wasn't a thing for anybody that I can think of. I think with technology and YouTubing and influencers and social media, I think that those types of platforms have brought it more to the center of your life. Technology has really brought that stuff because you get curious. Someone says, "Well, try out this new product. This new facial serum, and it's going to do this, and it's going to do that, and it's going to do this." And all of a sudden you have a bunch of 20-year-olds wanting to try this because they're thinking it's going to make them radiantly beautiful. For my generation, it was oil of Olay, and that was a big thing. But now that's kind of took a step back, and it's more for the 40s and 50s. And the 20s and 30s are using a Kim Kardashian, thing that she's come out with, or Carly. Is it Carly or
Kylie?
Kylie? What's her last name?
Jenner.
Jenner. Her line, they want to try that stuff because they want to look like them. But either way, whatever it looks like to you, do it. Why not? I mean, no harm is going to come to you. You're going to feel better about yourself. And all in all, that's going to be what your goal is.
I definitely do think it is a generational thing. My generation does focus a lot on just living your life to as happy as you can make it. And mom's generation is more like keep everything inside and don't tell anybody how you're feeling. Just act as if you're happy and fine.
That's true.
And mine's more like, no, you don't always have to be super happy, super good lucky all the time. Feel what you feel, like your mental health is just as important as your physical health. Um, so maybe that's why, because I grew up, especially my parents, they didn't raise us the way they grew up. They raised us to always talk things out and to process your emotions, and that it's fine to feel what you feel, do what you do. As long as it's not being disrespectful. That's one of the things. Don't be disrespectful.
Yeah.
In the same stance, they also say respect is earned, not given. So it's kind of like you gotta figure out how to do that, how to toe that line. Um, but yeah, definitely in my generation, there's a lot more accepting than my mom's, I think.
Yeah, and then I remember growing up and feeling like if you felt good about yourself or if you felt overly confident about yourself, you were conceited.
Yeah.
And you didn't want to be viewed as being conceited. So then you would end up being more meeky and more, kind of closed off and not letting other people or not wanting to feel good about yourself unless somebody gave you a compliment. And even when that person gave you a compliment, you were kind of like weird because you didn't know how to say it. So all you would be like, thank you, but you wouldn't actually feel about it. Feel like that. And I think this new generation, the 20-year-olds, I think they feel more like, yeah, it's okay for me to feel good about myself.
Yeah, definitely.
If I'm conceited, that's a good thing. That's not a negative thing.
Well, to a point, because some people are too conceited. But it's more like have confidence in who you are. You don't always need to appeal to like the body image and how you should be viewed as, the most especially I think one of the most important things is just being kind. I know a lot of my friends and coworkers are always like, I would rather have somebody in my life who is kind and respectful and maybe doesn't fit the body image than somebody that does fit the body image and is rude all the time. Like nobody wants to be around somebody who's rude and conceited. But yeah, I think that's how my generation is, or my mom's.
Another thing that I see that is different between generations, and we'll get off of this subject in a second, is that body shaming. That wasn't a word when I was 20 or when I was in high school, and that just became a word with her generation because back then you wanted to be that Barbie doll figure.
Yeah.
And that's what was accepted, and that's what was liked, was the size 2. Yeah. I remember a bunch of my friends, they were size 0, size 1, 2, and I was a 13, and I was like, still considered fat, and I thought of myself as being fat. But now somebody that's a 13, they're not considered being overweight. They're like, that's okay,
Yeah, definitely.
And so that body shaming word, all these different terminologies that are coming up that are looked down, that are considered not acceptable by society nowadays.
Yeah.
In my generation, that was the norm. Yeah. So it's kind of weird how these generations are kind of, we do see progress.
Yeah.
It's not always, my generation was better because we did this or we did that, but it's different.
Yeah.
But I do see it as being a starting point, something better.
Especially as we're becoming, as my generation, I think, as more generations are becoming more conscious of ourselves, we're all becoming conscious of how we treat people and how, people are as a person. Because, on one hand, we're everybody is equal, nobody is below, everybody is beautiful and thing, no matter what you look like, you're beautiful inside out, as long as you have, as long as you're nice, honestly, that's it, as long as you're a nice person. But also, we're seeing the younger generations now, we're no. I have heard a lot of my friends be I will not be raising my child the way that I was raised. They will be raised way better than me because, although my parents did give us, a good standing point of how we should view ourselves, some people didn't get that and they had to figure it out themselves. So like my child be raised how they want to be raised, you know, and how they want to be, how I wanted to be raised, and I feel like that's how we grow as like a population is we work better on than what the previous one was. So yeah.
So let's talk about how we incorporate self-care into your daily life.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest one we have start small, schedule a time, find what works for you and your schedule, be mindful, seek support. But I think the biggest one on that is to start small with a small goal.
Yeah, like I mean, I guess if they know I've been, that's kind of, I've always am like, no, I need to do this, I need to do that. Like every check I have, I'll be like, okay, this is going to my hairline, this is going to my like skincare, this is going to like my clothes, whatever it is. I make sure I have a little bit for whatever I need. But my biggest thing for like my younger sister is just to start small. Um, as simple as just brushing your hair every day, you know, doing your hair on, it can improve a lot.
Making your bed.
Making your bed, yeah, like eating breakfast in the morning, it can definitely improve a lot than what you think it can. So yeah.
One thing we're working on my 14-year-old with is, for one, getting her to school on time. That seems to be the biggest thing. But taking a shower in the morning.
Yeah.
Every morning, getting into the shower, because when they're 14, they're still trying to, you know, they're wanting to do it on their own, but they still need those reminders.
Yeah.
But again, with the hormones going on, that body odor and all that stuff is really getting, you know. So I always tell your teacher's gonna love you if you take a shower every day.
Yeah.
And you know, if anybody has, you know, had a 14-year-old, that's one big thing. So for her, trying to get her into the shower every day so that she gets into that routine like I did when I was growing up, that I still have to this day, you know, is a big starting point.
Me and my mom definitely disagree on that a little bit because I'm like every other day at least, because she has hair like mine, and if you get it wet too much or if you wash it too much, it can become super dry and it's like not good. Also she has really, really sensitive skin. So it's like drying her out, and I'm like, take a shower like every other day. Like every other day. Make sure you put lotion on. And she's like, "Hey, the bath." I'm like, no. Poor girl is gonna be so dry. Like, please, every other day. But yeah.
But like I said, starting small.
Yeah.
Schedule a time is important, because if it takes 21 days to
form a habit.
Form a habit. And so 21 days, if you're doing it the same time.
Yeah.
And same days every time, every week, and you know, 21 days, that will be something that won't feel like you're having to remember, because it's just going to become a natural thing. And so most of everybody pretty much has the same schedule, whether, you know, their work schedule might change any, but their biological schedule, you know, the time that they wake up, the time they go to sleep, that generally doesn't change very often.
And definitely scheduling a time. Like, I've had to schedule when I'm working out, because usually from like 9 a.m. is when I'm like usually gonna be like, okay, start doing stuff until about like 1 a.m. to midnight. There's never really any time for me to be like, okay, I gotta go work out. So I started waking up at like 6 a.m. just to get like a solid hour of me working out. And it has improved a lot, I think, than just working out midday.
Yeah, that was my biggest thing, is finding the time to be able to devote to working out, because I have to be at work at 8 o'clock, get off at 5:30. By 5:30, I gotta go pick up one of my daughters from work, go to the store, come home, cook dinner. You know, by 9 o'clock, I ain't trying to work out at 9 o'clock. Yeah. You know, that's not a good idea, because you get all this energy and then you end up messing up your sleeping schedule.
Yeah.
So, I think that our family has been trying to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and start working out. Which, to me, being 50 and being in menopause or starting the menopause and all that, my body's like, girl, what are you doing? But I'll let you know in 21 days, you know, if that habit has made it. So
I definitely think it has. But yeah, and then another one is just find what works out for you. Like for instance, me eating healthy, I find that I can eat healthy, but also like I'm fine having a little snack between it if it's like a piece of candy, as long as I don't overindulge in it, and I try my best not to. Um, or just drinking water. I don't know. If it's in a straw, I'll drink it, which is really stupid, but that's how my brain works. But if I have to like sit there and like gulp it, I will not drink it. I'll just be like,
Yeah, I don't know how your dad just
I
gulps.
I can't do that.
Uh-uh.
I have to like sit there and just like sip at it, or like going to TikTok and just be like, let me just have a little drink of it. But yeah, find out what works best for you to accommodate what you need, you need to be doing, what you should be doing. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, as far as the dieting goes, we've been for the past, I want to say for about 3 or 4 months now, we've been doing intermediate fasting. Mm-hmm. So we stop eating at like 8 to 9 o'clock at night, and then we don't eat again until I don't eat again until 12:30.
Yeah.
So I miss the breakfast and the morning snack, which seems to work out good for me. But by 12:30, I need to eat. Yeah. You know, so that works for me. And for water, I drink a lot of water at work. I think maybe because we have a water cooler and and ice, so
yeah,
I'm able to sit at my computer and I'll drink 60 ounces of water, yeah, no problem. But when I come home, not trying to drink water. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's different. Everybody has something different that they can do, and so whatever works for you.
Yeah. And like everybody on average, an average woman gets about 30 minutes, maybe less, which is kind of small. But as much you get a day for yourself, unless you prioritize it a lot more. But even 30 minutes is as simple as just eating something healthy or doing a little walk around the neighborhood, whatever. Mm-hmm. So even 30 minutes you can accomplish a lot if you put your mind to it and you really want to do that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then seek support through, go for a walk with one of your friends. Good gossiping time,
Take a hot ball walk.
Yeah. Good time to, just catch up with somebody that is important to you. Yeah. Spend time with your children. You have older children. I and Abby will go for walks together. Yeah. We'll take the dog out for a walk. And just kind of, she'll tell me all about what her day looked like. I'll tell her about my day. Generally, she has more going on during her day because of the type of job she has than me, but, it's a good catch-up time. Plus, it helps your body, exactly, it helps your, there's so many benefits to working out, and I'm sure we don't need to go through all that, but the biggest one to me is that it helps with your anxiety, it helps with your stress.
It improves your mood,
yeah. It improves your mood, yeah. It just kind of helps you to get focused, you know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, speaking of anxiety, since I do cooking with Abby, I'm always looking for like different ideas on like how to cook and like what I should be cooking. But I was researching some food that helps manage anxiety, and some of them was like salmon, eggs, leafy greens, yogurt. Basically, it has to be things that are high in omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin D, and probiotics. Those things helps your brain like manage anxiety a lot better, especially if you're dealing with it and it's more of like an emotional thing than a chemical thing. Eating just the right foods can help improve you a lot. Like, there's so many different foods you can be eating just to help how your mood is.
Yeah, those superfoods is a big thing right now.
Yeah, so definitely focus on what you're eating and how much of it you're eating than anything. That might be the first step, honestly.
That you reading off those ingredients sounds like it would be an awesome cooking with Abby.
What salmon?
Really, the salmon, the Greek yogurt, the leafy greens. I bet you can come up with a really good.
We could, honestly.
And then the poppin' fish seasoning.
That would be good.
You would be able to come up with an awesome recipe with that.
Stay on the lookout for that YouTube video, guys.
Just a little, plug there, but I'm sure she's a really good cook. So what happens when you neglect your self-care? Obviously, it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Your stress increases, your moods change.
Mm-hmm.
You're not as focused. You're a little sluggish during the day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to keep yourself aware.
Yeah.
And I think women in general take care of other people before they take care of themselves. I know I always have, and I've always put myself last. And now that my children are grown and can do for themselves, now I have to figure out, okay, so now you've done for everybody else. You've spent the past 30 years taking care of everybody else. Now it's time for you to take care of yourself. Yeah. And so, doing this podcast, and especially this month when we're talking about women's health, it's kind of, I'm really learning, how important it is for me to take care of myself. Yeah. And to, it's never has been the case before.
Yeah, I definitely try to help her with, what products to use and, we should do this and this and this. Because as before, I'm usually the one in the family that focuses on their self-care and stuff like that more than anybody else. So I always try to be like, okay, Mom, let's go to the store and buy you some, really good shampoo that would help your hair or whatever. And she's like, no, it's too expensive. I'm like, that's kind of the point. You don't work a job just to work a job, I definitely feel like you should be making money the way you want to, and also use it to benefit your life. Not, I gotta use pay bills, I gotta save money, I gotta this, I gotta that. It should definitely be a help to you to make yourself happy, as well as helping you live.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So emotional and mental health self-care is the next thing we're going to talk about. Practicing mindfulness, being present in the moment, being engaged fully with whatever it is that you're talking about or thinking about, connecting with somebody with
Oh, speaking of being present, I have this coworker, and he's so funny. He'll be talking to us, and one day he was talking to us, he has his phone in his hand, he goes, "Oh, I am so sorry, that is so rude," and put the phone down. And just all my friends do it, if we're talking to each other, we'll put the phone down. We can be mid-text, and we're like, "Oh, wait, let me just put the phone down and be focused and present." Because we know how rude it is to be, on your phone, and just be like, "Oh, let me just, scroll through this," and then someone's talking to you. You could say, "Oh, I am listening to you," but, sometimes you're really not listening. So just, mutual respect in that part, I think. But sometimes just putting the phone down and just whatever you're doing down, just, being present with the moment you're at is just the biggest help of self-care you can do.
Yeah, I know. I went out to dinner with my husband one time, and it was over in Olive Garden.
Yeah.
And I and him, we were talking. We really try our hardest not to have the phones at the table, even when it's just the two of us. Yeah. And we were talking, and I kind of looked around the restaurant itself while we were waiting for the food. And almost every table that was there, and there must have been, I don't know, maybe 12 tables sat. Yeah. Every one of them and every person in those booths had their phone in their hand. Yeah. And I'm like, are you serious? You're going to go and spend at least $50 on a meal if there's two of you at Olive Garden. But you're going to spend it not getting engaged with the person you're with, not learning anything new, not helping yourself at all, but all you're doing is scrolling through the latest social media platform that you're engaged, that you're taught. You could do that on your own for free. Yeah. Why go to a restaurant, spend $50 just to scroll through some, eating some food that you probably don't even want to eat, It's just ridiculous.
we're not saying like don't get a phone at all. Your phone can be helpful. One of my friends the other day, I like walked in and she was just watching a TED talk, and I was like, oh, girl, what are you doing? She's like, I'm watching a TED talk about how to be mindful, and I'm like, you're so cute. I love you so much. So it can definitely be helpful,
Yeah.
but a time and place I think is definitely needed in that.
That's good
Mhm.
right there. It's a time and a place for it.
Yeah.
So connecting with loved ones could be
Yeah.
another good mental self care, you know.
Mhm.
Talking to your sister that you haven't talked to all week.
Yeah.
You know, calling your mom, dad if you're, you know, if they're still there, if you're so blessed to still have them.
I always like she'll be at work mid shift. I'm like, Mom, I need to tell you about what's happening right now. And she'll be like, Abby, after a meeting. I'm like, okay, but I still need to tell you. And she'll get so many of my rants, and she knows everybody I know in detail because she didn't tell her in detail right as they go on. Just so she knows.
I've never met any of these people.
No reason.
But I know them by name.
She knows by name, by age, by what they look like. She hasn't met them a day in her life. I'm always like, Mom, this lady is so annoying. But it definitely helps me just to like unload and just be okay, like Abby, have it with y'all. Yeah. Because sometimes just talking it out is the easiest thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've had to really remind myself for the connecting for loved ones because sometimes I get so wrapped up in my everyday, and this is just me being transparent, in my everyday life that I forget about my sister or my brother or my dad that lives in North Dakota, you know, so, you know, I have to sometimes just remember that I do need to connect with these guys.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of times it's just, you know, a conversation that doesn't have to do with anything. It's just, you know, how are you doing? Kind of, you know, conversations. Yeah. Another one is the big one for I and for Abby is journaling. We love to journal. Abby has probably 4 or 5 different journals for 4 or 5 different reasons. I usually only have one, but just writing down what your day is, your thoughts, your prayers. I do have a prayer journal. I write down my prayers all the time because it keeps me to concentrating on what I want to, what I have to tell God or what you know, for that comfort. So journaling is a huge thing for me.
Me too, honestly. I do have a couple, but they're usually on for different things. Like I have one saying like what I did for working out that day, one for the business. I have one for just like a plan on calendar. I have one for my little Bible notes. I have too many maybe, but I can't have them all in one thing. I get too distracted and I'm like, oh, like whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, she is definitely the organized one of the family. You know, if you ever saw her desk, she has everything just so. Listening to music, that's a big one for me. My other daughters, they are great artists. They draw and they paint so good. Abby does too, but they seem to do it more for the self-care reason. Yeah. You know, and some of the things that they paint and they sketch up are just amazing. But that's their outlet and how they choose to kind of, you know, deal with whatever their day or their problem is. Reflecting on blessings rather than what things you don't have. You know, I really try to remind my family, think about what you have now. Yeah. You know, you'll always have a need for something. Always. There'll always be something you don't have that you need. Yeah. But present, what you have now, you know, you have your health, you have your roof over your head, your food on your table, you know, those are the big blessings. But even the small blessings, you know, you have gas in your car, you know. Anything you want to say about that?
I definitely try to help my family focus on the small things. Because sometimes we get so wrapped up in like the big things, or like, oh, this happened, this happened, so great, and I'm like, yeah, but we also have food. We also have drinkable water, you know. I also made it to work safe. Mom made it back home safe, you know. Like, just small things just also help you and be like, okay, actually, I do have a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Because people like to focus on the big things. They're like, oh, I don't have enough money. I don't have, a great car. I don't have this, I don't have that. But it's like, well, at least you have whatever. At least you have food. At least you have some water. At least you have the ability to go and listen to this podcast. Like, at
Right.
least you can always be grateful for something. At least
Mm-hmm.
you're alive and breathing that day. At least you can see the sun or the rain. Just like small things would help a lot more than the big things.
I think in today's society, especially in the news, you watch it, it's just so filled with such fear and what it's like that's what they're trying to get you to feel, the violence and the wars and
Yeah.
the despair, and there's enough of that going on that can make you feel depressed,
Yeah,
can really hold on to, be bad for your mind, So I think counting your blessings is a huge one.
Yeah.
Learning new activities and new things, Abigail wanted to learn how to crochet, so she got the starter kit to crochet, sorry. And she did it. She learned. She taught herself. There's millions of TikToks and
Yeah, definitely.
and
There's always a
YouTubes
new
and-
way to learn how to do something. So even just taking like one day a month to be like, okay,
Mhm.
this month I'm gonna learn how to like paint this photo, or I'm
Yeah.
going to learn how to use Canva, or like whatever it is.
Mhm.
It can always help you be a bit more appreciative of life. Yeah.
Right. So, in wrapping it up, all in all, just try to do something every day for yourself.
Yeah,
Try to keep
definitely.
yourself engaged in something.
Mhm.
Try to beautify yourself, however
Yeah.
that looks like. It helps relieve your stress. It helps relieve your anxieties. It helps, like we said, your relationships.
Yeah.
It'll help your marriage. Just improve and improve your life every day.
Yeah, definitely. Always try to make the best out of whatever day you have. If bad news happen, it happens, but don't make your entire day, week, month, year about that bad news.
Mhm.
Always try and fix it, and always try to have a positive outlook on life.
Yeah. So we thank you for listening to us. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Um, just have a wonderful day and God bless you.
Do you want to pray us out really fast?
Lord Jesus, we thank you for this time we've had. We ask you to bless those that are listening. We ask you to bless us. We ask you just to keep us mindful on the things that we need to do to help our everyday person and our everyday life. And we just hope that this reaches somebody and gives somebody a little bit of confidence, a little bit of reminding that they are the number one important person.
Yeah.
And that they need to make sure that they're taking care of themselves before they take care of others. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Well, have a good day, you guys.
Thank
Always
you.
remember to keep it simple, keep it flavorful, keep it your flavor house. Bye.
Bye-bye.